Hello again. I'm here doing some work on my 65 white. I have to get this running because next week Monday I'd like to haul some machinery to Burnett for the show. And some of you may remember last year it was leaking where the step is in the tank, and I JB welded and fiberglassed it and said it was a temporary fix, and you know how that is until it starts leaking again. But that isn't the issue. The issue is underneath the front strap where these tanks like to rust and start to leak. So I got to get the tank off and see how the bottom of it looks, because I either have to get it fixed or get a different tank on here by next week for hauling equipment. So let's see how this goes. I got to disconnect a couple wires, the return line and the feed line on the back side. Well, standing up, I skinned my head good on there already. Let's see what that looks like. Well, I have the wires disconnected and the fuel lines disconnected. So now all I should have to do yet is take this nut off and the tank should drop out, and we can look to see what it looks like on the bottom. I have the straps off now. It's sitting on a tub, and now we'll wrestle it out of there. Now looking at this, I think this tank was patched once before under here with whatever they used, the same as where it had been patched in the step before I fixed it with JB weld and fiberglass. So I'm going to have to clean this off good and then decide what I'm going to do. As you can see, it's not looking good. And this end has patching over too, so I'm sure it was leaking on that end too at one time. So I have to decide what I'm going to do here, because I need it in a week. I know I should have been at this a year ago. I could clean it all up and do like I did where the step was, which isn't my preference. I could try, and what should be done is the whole bottom cut out and a new bottom put in the tank, and the step area cut out and a new section put in there. That's the way I'd like to do it. Keep the original tank on. But I'm going to look around to see if I have a different tank I could put on it for this year, so that I could just wait and do this proper. So I'll let you know what I decide. What do you out there think? Let me know. So thanks for watching. I'll let you know in the next day or so my decision what to do. It's the next day and I'm back. I went through my culch pile and I found the tank. I took off 73 C60 that I had like 25 years ago, and I saved it. I had patched this tank one time, but it looks pretty darn nice inside, and I think it's going to do the job. I just have to change the mounts on the frame. So I think for now this is going to be the route I take. Now I took the strap off the front fuel tank mount, and I have to take the strap off the back one yet. And my intent is to take this front fuel tank mount off the frame so there's enough room between the rear mount and the fender to bolt the other fuel tank mounts to the frame, because the other fuel tank won't fit in these straps because of the size. So let's see if these will come off reasonably easy so I can put the other fuel tank mounts right onto this frame. Bolts came right out. I expect the other two will too, because they can see there's really no rust on this frame. You can see all the original paint still on it. So let's get the other two off and get this bracket out of the way. So there you can see this fuel tank bracket came off. Hopefully I can use at least one of the holes to line up the other brackets, and then I'll only have to drill a few holes in the frame, and the other fuel tank should go right on here. Quite straightforward. At least I'm hoping so. So we'll keep at it. With a little heat, those two straps came right loose. Now I'm going to pull these brackets off and look at how that tank looks underneath. I know I repaired it 25 years ago. It had a few pinholes in it, but we'll see what it looks like. It's pitted here a little more than I had hoped it would be. There's my repairs from the last time, 25 years ago. There it didn't re-rust at all. I'm going to fill it with water and check for leaks that way first. Well, I filled it with water and pounded the scaly rust off, and I haven't found any water leaks. So I'm going to go ahead and use this tank. Unfortunately, look what we found here after some more cleaning. 2 pinholes, 2 little holes. I'm going to fix those. I don't see any other places. When I see how deep it's pitted there to get through, I think the rest of the places will be okay. So I'm going to fix those 2. Now I'm going to attempt to solder this hole and that hole, these 2 holes, like I did a bunch over here 25 years ago. So let's see if I have any luck with that. The solder seemed to take good. I had cleaned it up with a die grinder. Here I found another hole. I'll fix that one. I soldered 2 holes here, and I soldered 2 distinct holes there that I found with the pick. And I picked around on the 2 spots, and I couldn't find any more holes. So I ground it up and cleaned out the pits somewhat with the die grinder. If my sandblaster was up and going, I'd sandblast the whole area and just tin the whole thing with solder for security. But my sandblaster developed a problem the last time I used it, so I ground it up and cleaned out the pits somewhat. I'm going to skin it with JB weld for a little added security, and then possibly even some fiberglass. I haven't decided on that yet, so I'm going to get the JB weld on there. The fuel tank, as you can see, I have the fuel tank on the white. I took out the breather. I'm going to put air pressure into there in order to push fuel up to the fuel filter, so there's no air in the line there. And as you would guess, I have fuel cans, World War II fuel cans, or Army fuel cans from my old neighbor. And I actually have 2 spouts that go in. It clamps down here and squeezes the rubber to make them fit tight in. This is one of the original ones that came from my neighbor, and you see it's made differently than this one. This one, there's screws in the side. You can take this handle off, and I've already put a thicker washer in here to make the rubber squeeze tighter. And on the other end, you see it's threaded. They had, I don't know if they had capsa screw on them. There's nothing in this one. But this one, you can see there's a real fine brass screen inside of it. So they had a real nice screen in them. And it's a real long tapered one, so the fuel would flow through it quickly, even if it started to plug. So time to put fuel in it. Now I want to crack the line here at the fuel filter, put some air pressure in the tank, and get fuel in the line up to the fuel filter. There, we got fuel coming out there. So now I'll tighten it. So now by rights, it should start right up and not have any problem with air in the line. There might be a little bit up in there, but no more than when you change the fuel filter, and that never causes a problem. So let's see how it starts. I haven't run it since January. Now I have had a charger on it, so I'm hoping the batteries are going to be up, so it should start right up. That's as I expected, and has air pressure almost up already. It builds air real quick. Now I'm mad at myself. I looked at the glad hand. I pulled the rubber seal out already. And look what's inside there. I don't know what kind of bugs carried that in. Hopefully it's just in the very end. Pumped the air up and I worked a little bit and it seems to have blown everything out real good. So that should be okay. Hopefully it's not in the trailer lines. I look at that. Well, there I have the white out. Have to check a few things over and start the load equipment to haul it to Burnett. I don't know how much I'm going to get there. I only have 2 days. So we'll see how it goes. And once again, thanks for watching.